for six man. How are you feeling? Were you expecting to be in that top three? I guess how are you viewing the whole thing, man?
Excuse me. I'm taking it away as a group award for bench mob.
Okay.
It's bench mob mentality. You know, on one hand, it's something I appreciate, but it's not just me on the court in that second unit. Bench mob across the board has found ways to be successful this season. You look at Campaign, Landry, JaVale, T. Craig, all bring something to the table.
Curious, me just and then Monty obviously being a finalist as well.
Yeah.
Is this a no-brainer for him?
I think so. Yeah. But that's not my vote. And obviously he's the only coach I played for in the NBA. But everything that I've seen him do from a coaching standpoint has been so high level, from X's and O's to encouraging guys to being on guys when they need to be, picked up a little bit, and then kind of keeping us motivated from game to game. 82 games, and we're grown men. It's not like you're mad at us. You berate us and put us on the line, and we'll fall in line, So he has a good way of getting us to do what he wants us to do and play with that high level of energy and play with that high level of competitive spirit.
Cam Monty said earlier he noticed a difference in the crowd, just the elevation of the playoff
Yep.
game. Did you notice last night in the crowd?
Yep. It's a lot of fun. Reminded me of last year. That playoff energy is unmatched, and I think we got the best home court.
And then when you did an alley-oop, like you did that one hand, I thought the roof was going to blow off the building.
Yeah.
Well, what's it like when you're able to flush one like that?
Just you feel the energy of the crowd. You feed off of it.
Cam, before that lob, you forced the tough shot. You guys get the rebound when they crash forward. Is that kind of the ideal scenario for you guys, what they're trying to do?
Kind of. I played for a team that was a heavy offensive rebound focused team in college, and I know that the fight for the offensive glass can make it hard to get back on defense. So there's a balance, obviously, between not letting them get the offensive boards and then turning, that into a strength of ours, being able to attack back at them, and being better at the boards is something that we certainly need to do.
What did you see on that front as far as going back and look at the film?
Guys kind of crashed at random. Sometimes it'd be Alvarado crashing from the top. Sometimes it'd be the corner guy. And Valanciunas is holding his ground on the inside and tap outs. So those tap outs, and when those guys crash, they crash hard. And so just being able to put a body on them better, getting Valanciunas out and everybody not just getting into the paint, but checking who they need to check and then turning to get the ball will be big for us going forward. And I think it's something we can really clean up.
You had talked about, wanting to get a couple games in before the regular season end to get
Yeah.
your win back. How did it feel to go out there and get your first 4 shots and kind of get in that groove early on?
It felt good. That playoff atmosphere, tired or not, you feed off that energy too. And I feel good. My win feels good. Legs feel good. So just trying to contribute.
Tim, is it possible to quantify the difference in intensity between the playoffs and the regular season? You guys just seem so much more dialed in. Is it something you can describe at all?
I think the best way to explain it is that we know it's at stake, and we know that there's no grace period to figure it out. It's not like you get 4 losses in a series and you're done. So you kind of chunk it into miniature seasons, miniature. You can put so much focus to each game, to each series, to each possession, because the next one's not necessarily promised. And I think that's kind of what drives every team in playoff basketball, is that desperation to play at their highest level, to play, to put together the perfect defense possession, the perfect offense possession. And it's each team. Each team is at a high level. Each team is competing. That's why you see some lower scoring games and some higher scoring games. And the bottom line is it's a lot of competition back and forth.
Were you surprised that you guys, with the 8-day layoff, that you came out as hot as you did?
Nah. We were so jazzed for that game, so amped that I'm not surprised we came out strong at all. And it's something that we'll look to continue to do going forward, is start strong, start third quarter strong, and then finish strong. Yeah, both my little brothers were, Puff and Braylon. Yeah. It's pretty cool. just to have him come out and spend some time. I get to, because, there's a lot of things that, it's the best way to say this. Everything that he's going through now, I've been through at a certain point. So I like to take him aside and talk to him and try to help him. And so since he's been here, it's not just the game, it's lifting in the garage with him and working on certain parts of his game where I know that, all of his trainers and strength coach are working with him on, but, he's my little brother. We share similar genetics. I kind of see where he struggles and where he succeeds and how I can say, Puff, this is what helped me get better when I was in college, or this is something that I think if you focus on it, it'll pay off big dividends. So just being able to have him with me a little bit is helpful. And then the same with my youngest brother, Braylon. He's been with me, all season. And it's nice to be able to be in his ear and help him, progress his game a little bit as he gets older.
I know they haven't been through the pro level, but do they help you at all? Like, see things or point things out there, try to help you?
Yeah, they do. It's funny. They do. Then Puff was going on about his own theories of the game yesterday. And it's appreciated and it's funny because I'm glad to see him kind of taking ownership of the game and breaking it down and seeing it, in his eyes and seeing it the way he sees it. And that's something that I think will be good for him going forward and his own personal development.
Where did Puff come from?
Puff, there's a lot of speculation and the origins of it is kind of unclear. I think the best story that he said is that my mom once upon a time called him Cocoa Puff. Like he's a little Cocoa Puff. He had a fluffy head and he had a big head as a little kid, a super big head as a little kid. And it's not necessarily have anything to do with Cocoa Puffs or anything, but we all had so many nicknames growing up. So many, but his stuck. And my mom, you ask her now, she would take it back if she could. She likes his real name. His real name is Donovan. And she likes his real name. So she told him to ditch the nickname Puff as he got to college. And he said, nah, I got to. And that's just how everybody's known him since he was in kindergarten as Puff. Yeah. The name Puff kind of, it took on a life of its own. And I don't think she intended for that.
What kind of nicknames did you have?
I had a ton of them, and I'm not going to get into it. I had a couple when I was real little, and as I age a little bit, but they don't address me by those names anymore, at least not as much. I might get it flying every once in a while, but I try to keep it under wraps, In a game to 10, it's a struggle for him. I know his moves. We were in Chapel Hill. When I was in Chapel Hill All-Star, we played one-on-one just for a quick second. And he did get me in one spot to 3, but I closed out short and just let him shoot threes. So that's on me for just kind of letting him tee him up. But that was the first time he beat me in any to 3 to 5 in a very, very, very long time. We played over quarantine 3, 4, 5 times a week. And we play games to 5 and, I just kind of know his moves too well. I know everything he wants to get to and how to take it away from him. And also he gets kind of foul happy, especially when, little brother, big brother. And he's decently physical for being a slighter frame. He's pretty physical. And I try to tell him like, Puff, that's a foul. And so he'll go into his own games now and have those same fouls. And I'll call him back, Puff, I told you that was a foul all along. Like the one where he sticks his belly out with belly bumps. But it's good. I love the fact that he plays physical. It really helps him on the boards. And it's helped him become a pretty solid defender. And I expect him to take a huge jump defensively and become a very good wing defender in the ACC next year. But, that physicality that he has is something my older brother has too. Them two have like some gene where they have no regard for their own safety and they throw elbows and hands and knock people out and get kind of knocked out themselves sometimes, but it's going to serve them well. Yeah. Yes, we do. No, yesterday it was in the living room in person. Everybody was standing there watching the game. We did it with Puffy's Final Four games. We do it with Puffy's games all the time, even when he's not there. It's funny you say that because I never even thought of it as like a standard debrief. But when I think back, every game there is a deep sort of debrief. and everybody has something to say. It's so funny. And you know, it's the perk of being in a basketball family, but it's also, you know, sometimes you just can't avoid it. If there's so certain games where I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, and my dad is sitting there waiting. He's gonna be like, "You're gonna watch this." I'm like, "Come on, man, don't make me relive this, that, and the other." But my parents, my dad, like they played, and they know what they're talking about. And as much as I try to tell them, you know, I do this as my job now. They got their full input, certainly, and it's something that you have to appreciate for sure. At my house, yeah. Yep. Yep. They have every game recorded, every game.
Do you ever make a
Keeping that under wraps.
Do you ever make a pass or a defensive rotation for a split second? Think like that
It's
was
rebound.
one Dad brought up. Oh, it's
It'll be
rebounding.
rebounding. I told my mom I was gonna get 10 yesterday, and I came out with 1. So she was mad. First thing she said, she looked at me and said, "You promised me." So I got to do a little bit extra for her tomorrow. But what was the big name of the game yesterday? Rebounding. Yeah. And I told her that I was going to do it, and I didn't. So she was mad at me about that. So that was a big part of yesterday's discussion.
Opinion you appreciate the most out of all your family members?
Actually, it's funny. My older brother, and he's not here right now. Everybody else, you know, they say so much. But my older brother, Aaron, he doesn't often say something. So when he does, like, you listen, and he's the smartest of us all. He's very, very intelligent, and he can think the game at a pretty high level too. And he pays attention. He understands stats and trends and, you know, basketball analytics. So when he has something to say, I'm listening. Aaron played. He had the unfortunate experience of capping out at 6'2.5", and he was a center, power forward center. He had a mean post game. If he could have been at 6'8", he would have been a heck of a player. He probably would have been in the NBA. But it just wasn't in the cards for him. He was meant to go down a more medical path, and serving him.
How old is Braylon?
Yeah, he does medical research at Pitt.
How old is Braylon right now?
16.
Future Tar Heel, 3 in a row, you think?
I don't know. We'll see. He has a lot of potential, and he went to Pinnacle this year, so I was able to kind of keep my eye on him and work. He has a ton of potential, and he's pretty athletic. And you know, we just gotta get him to. He's gonna turn a corner and it's gonna figure it all out. That's what I say.
In the game last night, you had the lob play, and last year, of course, you had the big dunk over PJ. So, do you guys talk about having those lob plays to kind of, you know, at least get you guys going, and especially at home or even on the road to get you, you know, kill the other team around?
It's not something you ever have to talk about. It's something that just is a part of the game that happens, and when you have the opportunity, the big thing is just seizing the opportunity, taking advantage of it. Remember last year against the Nuggets, T. Craig had a huge lob from campaign. It was probably game 1 or 2. It was at home, and the crowd just erupted like ridiculous. And I think that was a huge point in the series that kind of punches the other team in the chest. It's like this team energy, crowd energy, and it's a lot to fight against. And those, you know, that's a huge part of the playoff atmosphere. It's those big plays that kind of blows the roof off.
Thanks, Cam. Thank you, Cam.
Thanks, guys.
I wish I could tap out at 6'2".
Nope, you're not going to get mine.